What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of the 5 Takeaways, where we're going to take a look at our impressive 2-1 win out in Marseille last night. That sealed our qualification into the next round of the Champions League as group winners. And it was definitely a proud night to be a Spurs fan as we came from behind to win 2-1. And let's get into the first takeaway, and that is PERISIC defending.
Yeah, and he was a much better defensive display from Ivan Perisic, who's been criticised a lot this season for lack of defensive ability and maybe too easily beaten, but he actually stepped up massively yesterday defensively and as well kept his offensive threat. He won 3 aerial duels, he won 5 of his 7 ground duels, 4 tackles, 2 interceptions, 4 clearances as well, one of them being that really great block from Alexis Sanchez late in the game. Also had 2 key passes and got his 7th assist of the season with a great assist for Lenglet's goal. So much improved defensive display from Perisic, and good all-round display as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I've been one to criticise Perisic over the last few weeks, especially for his defensive displays. And yesterday was definitely his best defensive display in a Spurs shirt. Credit to him, and coming in a massive game as well. So big game player Perisic, a massive display from him, and I'm loving Perisic, to be honest. I was speaking kind of critical of him because I know he can do better, and I'm seeing him do better now, so credit to Perisic. But let's move on to the second takeaway, and that is Lenglet rising.
Yeah, and obviously he rose to get his goal yesterday, but his goal capped off what was a pretty good display overall, despite a few early struggles against Alexis Sanchez. He ended up with 4 tackles, which is most on the pitch, 5 clearances, 1 aerial duel, 4 long passes completed, and obviously the goal that he scored at a crucial time, 55 minutes into the game, to get us on the back on level terms in a timely manner. And it was a good performance overall from Clement Lenglet, and he was really aggressive as well in that second half and winning the ball back and allowing us to get on the front foot. And I was really happy with his second half showing, and it was capped off by a really good header.
Yeah, it really was. The way he rose and found the back of the net, beat every Marseille player to the ball, and I'm really liking the look of him over the centre. It's a cool, calm presence in there. That's 2 good displays in a row from him, and maybe he's starting to get to grips with life in Tottenham now, because at the start of it, it looked like he wasn't used to English football, but I think he is getting to grips with things now, and hopefully he can just go from strength to strength. And if he keeps continuing this upward curve, then maybe we will sign him for the long term. We'll see. But let's move on to the third takeaway, and that is sharing the goals.
Yeah, so our last 6 goals have been scored by Bentancur twice, Sessegnon, Højbjerg, Lenglet, and Ben Davies, who scored obviously against Bournemouth. So Kane and Son have not scored in our last 6 goals, which didn't happen throughout the whole of last season.
Wow.
And I'm not sure when the last time that it did happen. So we do seem to be sharing the goals around a lot more, and even when Kane and Son aren't getting on the score sheet, it seems that the other players are now stepping up a lot more often than they were maybe under previous regimes, and hopefully we're becoming less reliant on them.
Yeah, and it's a very good sign. It's a very good sign, because all the fans from around the Premier League being like, oh, you're too reliant on Kane and Son. Spurs fans themselves are also saying it, like, if the goals don't come from Kane and Son, where are the goals coming from? And in these last 2 games that we're seeing other players step up and take the mantle and scoring the goals. Bentancur has been brilliant, and he's starting to chip in with the goals. And like you said, all the other players that have scored over the last 2 games. I'm just hoping that this isn't just like an odd few games out, and hopefully that this can carry on for the majority of the season, because we're going to need other players to chip in throughout the season. We can't just keep thinking Kane and Son will bail us out every game. We need to see consistent goals from other areas of the pitch, and we've seen Højbjerg chime in with a lot of goal contributions this year. Bentancur starting now, and I really want to see it more from the wing backs as well, because our right wing back haven't really got into the grips with goal contributions. We've seen it with Perisic, but that's about it. I know Sessegnon got on the score sheet, but I want to see more goal contributions from the wing backs moving forward, because we know that's a big hallmark of an Antonio Conte side. But in the last 2 games, you've got to be happy with the amount of different players chiming in with the goals. So definitely a step in the right direction. And let's move on to number 4, and that is another bad start.
So for the 5th consecutive game, Spurs conceded the first goal in the game, and obviously we had to come back from being behind, which was Which, to be fair, we lost 2 of them. We lost to Newcastle and we lost to Man United, but the other games we were able to turn around. But it's becoming more of a trend of the bigger picture as well, because not only is it 5 games in a row, but 9 of our last 12 games, Tottenham have conceded the first goal now, and we've had to make a second half comeback. Albeit we have been fairly successful getting those comebacks. Only the only games we didn't win were Arsenal. We didn't beat Arsenal, Sporting, Newcastle, and Man United. The other games we have been able to turn it around. But we keep pretty much starting. We pretty much keep giving the opposition a 1-0 head start at the moment, and it's definitely a consequence of these poor first half performances. And I'm not really. Well, look, there's been multiple excuses or reasons given as to why we keep starting games badly, but it's become definitely a trend over the long term now.
And the players and the management need to figure out a way around this. They all are kind of identifying the problem and saying there is a problem, but no one seems to be able to fix the problem because after every game they're saying, we need to start the games better, we're not playing good in the first half, then second halves we're playing well. Kane has mentioned it, Lloris has mentioned it, Stellini mentioned it, Conte has mentioned it, but no one has seemed to find a fix for it yet. So hopefully we can find one sooner rather than later, because when we go 1-0 down against the really good teams, we find it hard to come back in the games, and that is obviously the detriment of our results. When we're coming up against the teams that we are clearly better than, we can turn it round, but we come unstuck against the really good teams. So we need to find a way around it. We really do. But let's move on and let's look at the 5th and final takeaway, and that is possible opponents.
Yeah, so thankfully we're going to, thanks to Højbjerg's last-minute goal, Tottenham did top the group, so that means we will avoid many of the big hitters going into the round of 16. And the possible opponents read as Club Brugge, Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan, AC Milan / Salzburg, Benfica, and RB Leipzig / Shakhtar Donetsk. So looking at those list of opponents, those are the possibilities going to the next round, and it definitely reads kinder than the possible opponents we could have got if Højbjerg didn't get that last-minute goal. So that shows how important that goal was in the final few seconds of the game. And I'm not sure, you maybe in the comment section you can tell me who you would want to face in the round of 16, but there's no one who really scares the life out of me, but also no one who you're saying, we're definitely going to beat them. So they're all tough games, but definitely much more manageable than the other list.
Who's your pick?
It's difficult. I think
for me, it's anyone but Shakhtar, pretty much.
I don't really want to be going to. I don't want to be playing Shakhtar just for that away day. But Benfica have been unbeaten all season. They're going to be tough. Club Brugge have been a bit of a dark horse this season. Dortmund are very hit and miss, but have very good players. Then obviously you got Inter and AC, who have been having poor seasons, but are always good teams with good players. And then Leipzig started the season really badly, have been coming into it. So I think I would choose. I think I would go for Dortmund. I think Dortmund are the kind of team who would play into our hands, and at the moment they're not playing with great consistency. So I reckon we could beat them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I wouldn't mind getting Club Brugge. But I think it's a bit written in the stars for us to get into, to be honest.
Yeah, it really
obviously is. Conte going back to his old club and all the history behind it. So I think it's a bit written in the stars for that. But the draw is on Monday, so we'll obviously be bringing it to you here live on We Are Tottenham TV. But that is your 5 takeaways from the 2-1 win out in Marseille last night. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you